What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Electrix Moto. Today we're going to be talking about a customer's build, an SR, and before he comes and picks it up, I kind of want to go through what we like to call the Electrix Moto treatment, what we did to this bike, and I'm going to make some recommendations to those of you who may want a high-power bike, but maybe don't feel that you aren't ready to get into a high-power bike. I think this information will be useful for you. With all that said, let's hop right into the SR and what we did to make this ride ready. Okay, so first up on this bike, it's the same thing we do to pretty much every single bike, and I probably sound like a broken record to those of you who are not new to the channel and listen or watch the videos all the time. Always what we do when we start these builds out is we do the Warp 9 drop bracket. So if you're looking for an opportunity to lower your feet about an inch of ride height, you'll be standing an inch lower. I messed that all up, but I think you get the point. This is a great way to do that. We do it on most of our bikes, and we're starting to do it as like the base build for customers who want to buy a bike. Now, you may not see the SR drop pegs on the Warp 9 site or our site. We're adding those. We just tested to make sure that these do fit. The frame holes and all the dimensions on all the E-Ride products from the 2.0 up to the SR are all the same in terms of the drop brackets. So if you go to our site and you order a set of drop brackets for your bike, you can just pick 3.0 or 2.0 and it will fit the SR. So that's just a tidbit of information that we've had to find out the hard way because we are waiting for a specific product to come out, but lo and behold, everything fits. Now, the next thing is the foot pegs. We went with the Warp 9 magnesium foot pegs. As you can tell, this is another magnesium in blue build. I think the magnesium in blue option is one of our most asked for and probably our personal favorite color combo right now. And outside of this little section, it kind of brings your feet down, better ride position. We also did the Warp 9 magnesium 3-inch rise bars, bar mount, and the stem lock. So the stem locks that come on these bikes, they're fine. They're better than a lot of other bikes, to be completely honest with you, but they're still not my favorite. So we always put a Warp 9 in there just to kind of tighten everything up and give you an opportunity to control your steering depending on how you like to ride, what type of terrain you ride. Some people like this handlebar or the triple clamp and the forks and the wheel to move really easily. Some people like it really tight. It's all a personal preference, but the nice part is if you want to make that change yourself, all you have to do is tighten this star nut up in here. Just be careful because you will strip it. I stripped this one and I had to replace it. This will give you more control over that. Obviously, the riser bar mount brings those bars up a little bit, and the 3-inch rise obviously brings those bars up as well. Something that you are going to need if you want to run this configuration, we do not sell it, but Charge Cycle Works does, is the Charge Cycle Works display bracket. It allows you to mount the E-Ride Pro factory display around the Warp 9 bar mount. Something that you're probably going to want to take into consideration. Otherwise, you're going to ride without a screen. Some people don't mind that, but me personally, that gives me a ton of anxiety. All right, now let's talk about a couple of other things that I mentioned right when we started this video about how you can kind of tame this bad boy down. 25 kilowatts in a small frame bike is a lot of power, and quite honestly, I don't think many people have the respect for how much power that is. And the other day, I was out in the parking lot on this bike specifically. I put it in eco, and I had never ridden an SR. I mean, I've been out of town, I just got back, and we can't really keep these bikes in stock long enough to take one out of the box. So I figured, well, we got a customer build, I want to ride it. And I was in eco and almost looped the bike out. I just did not expect that much instantaneous power. So I started looking around the bike. I'm like, okay, that's too much. I think there's a lot of people that could handle this bike if it was tamed down a bit. And then instantly I realized this bike comes with a 58 tooth sprocket from the factory. Now, I think a lot of people really like that about the SR. I think a lot of people like that instantaneous, crazy amount of power right out of the gate. But if you're in a position where you don't want to have to buy 2 bikes or buy a bike now and then buy a bike later, and you want to buy a bike that you can kind of grow into, there are ways that you can kind of manipulate the system a bit to make this bike work for you. And the first and only one that I've kind of figured out so far is we're going to take that 58 tooth sprocket and we're going to drop that down to probably 50 teeth. The reason for that is re-gearing this bike and bringing those teeth down. It might end up at 52. I just ordered a bunch of sprockets from Warp 9 to try to do some testing on what that might look like at 50, 52, 54. But we're gonna put a smaller sprocket on this bike and we're gonna tame it a bit, because I think for people who want to grow into a bike and they really do want a bike with all of these great components, they only want to buy it once, but they really are scared of all that power, rightfully so. It's something that you're going to want to consider in just gearing that down. Now, outside of gearing it down, you will either need to remove some links from the chain because that sprocket is changing in diameter. It's getting smaller, which means the chain is from the factory for a 58 tooth sprocket. So you will need to either take links out or buy a new chain. I'll leave all that stuff in the description for somebody who may want to do something similar to this. But we have a next batch of SRs coming in this week, and I will be taking one out of the box and building it for the shop bike. So that is something I'm going to test, is just playing with those different sprocket tooth counts and seeing what we can get out of this bike, and try to tame this thing down a little bit so we can go have fun on more, technical trails that kind of have an incline. When you start going up an incline and you have a short wheelbase, that bike tends to want to fall over on you, and that's not something you want to do ever. So that's something we're going to be testing and just see how this bike performs with a lower tooth sprocket, and just see how much more realistic and tame we can make this bike be. All right, so that pretty much wraps up the complete build and why we did what we did. This is kind of becoming like the package we push people into, and push is the wrong way to put it. It's just about giving people a better experience from the beginning. Not everyone can afford to upfit their bike right when they pick it up. This gentleman could, so that was cool. It just really eliminates a lot of the things that he's gonna need to do in the future, or things that I would recommend that he does in the future, and not everybody will agree with this, that's fine. This is not what you have to do. It's just something we found works really well, and it seems to be a set of items that enhances the performance of the bike, so that for us is always a good thing. Now, the last thing that we did not do that we will probably do later, or maybe we'll ship it to them directly, and it's something that we also add to this, what we call the base package, is a gut seat cover. This customer did not need it right now, or did not want it right now, so that's totally fine. It's not something that he has to do. However, having a gut seat cover on these bikes really does change the way that the bike feels in the saddle. It's just more sticky, it's more grippy. It's everything that you want it to be, especially with a bike this powerful and how quickly it takes off. Now, if you guys have any questions or concerns or input on the builds that we're doing here, or this build specifically, please leave those in the comments. We will answer them right away. Also, check out the podcast. The podcast has been coming along nicely. We would love your feedback on that to see if it's something that people are actually enjoying, that's entertaining, that is, in our opinion, something that this market needs. Also, we are looking for sprint enduro style races in the Midwest for the summer and the fall. It's been a tough time trying to find races that allow these e-motos in. I've got some emails into people, and the responses I get back are, we're just really not sure what the heck electric dirt bikes really are. I think that's just a Midwest thing, and it hasn't really made its way out here in its entirety yet, but we would love to have some more information about that as well. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, please leave those in the comments and I'll get back to you, and I appreciate you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.